friends seem to disappear. Is it back home, back in that place where life first began, at the cross, because that's where we find our hope. See, our hope's not found in the church. It's been a while since I've been on Instagram, and there's a reason. You see, just over a month ago, I was forced to resign from my church. It's one of those really hard things. Yes, a month ago. So think about when a month ago was. Because a month ago was, 1 week before Christmas. And you know, when a pastor resigns, well, when you're forced to resign, when a pastor is forced to resign, not only does he lose his job, but he loses his church family. And you lose your friends. But let me tell you something, though, about losing friends. We had some incredible friends that gathered around us and put their arms around us and loved us and have still loved us through all of this stuff. But it's a hard thing. It's a really hard thing. But where do you go? Because you see, I know that it wasn't the church that did this to us. I know that this wasn't God's plan that we left that church. It was man's plan. And I know that. But I also know that God's going to work through this. And because I know God allowed it. Because he did. That's what he does. He's sovereign and he could have changed things, but he didn't. He allowed man to do what man wanted to do. And so what do we do now? Because, you know what? We're not the only ones that this has happened to. In fact, you're out there, and many of you have been hurt by the church. But you need to know something. It wasn't God. It was man. What do? Well, number one, you don't give up on God. In fact, what you do is you go back to the place where your life first began. And you know where your life first began? It began at the cross. That's where love first began. That's where hope first began. Because you see, my hope is not in man. My hope's not in the things of this world. My hope is in the cross. Am I angry? Do I go through these things of grief? Absolutely. Am I still hurting? Absolutely. And I'm still hurting for all of those that were hurt by this and all those that are in confusion over this. Absolutely. But I also know that my God has not changed and that my hope and my place of refuge has not changed. Because God said, you are my, in the book of Psalms, David said, you are, speaking of God, you are my refuge and my strength. And that's where my strength comes from. That's where my hope is. That's where I go back to. And I am so thankful for the friends that have stood up and gathered and put their arms around Suzanne and I and loved us and strengthened us and said, you, we love you. We believe in you. And I want to do that for you today. If you've been hurt by the church, and you need to know that wasn't God. That was people. Because God still loves you. And your hope, and you need to know that your hope is still in God. Because God hasn't let you down. That was people. That was people. So, and I don't put this out today so that I'll get all these, oh, we're so sorry, Mike. We're so sorry, Mike, because all these things happen, because they happened. And yes, and I'm grieving, and I'm hurting. I get all that. And yes, I don't have a job, and I get all that. But God will provide. He will. He's always coming through, always. And I'm always going back to him. I have not given up hope in him. And I'm going back to him. Because he is my hope. He is my refuge. He is my strength. And you need to do that too. Does it mean I've given up on the church? Absolutely not. But if you are in one of those places, because the church is a hospital, and people don't go to a hospital to get sick. they go to a hospital to get healed. So please, please know this. You are loved today. Be in a place, get in a place that you can be loved. And know that God loves you. And so do I. God bless you. There is hope.